Radio. Within the echoes of our hosts' haunting voices, terror weaves through the airwaves like a malevolent symphony. I am Benson, your spectral guide, leading you into the uncharted realms of the macabre. Brace yourself for a descent into a paranormal abyss with hosts Bobby Washington, Carolyn Gray, and Amy Tiedemann. They traverse through tales that linger in the shadows, spectral apparitions, haunted domains, cryptids, and otherworldly encounters. Embrace the darkness, extinguish the lights, steel your nerves for a bone-chilling night into the heart of the unknown. It's time for Strange Darkness Radio.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh, and I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh, can you feel it coming in the air tonight?
Welcome back to Strange Darkness Radio for another creepy and spooky UFO-based episode. I'm your host, Bobby Washington, and I'm with...
Carolyn Gray.
Yes. Amy,
co-host.
Yes, exactly. Amy couldn't join us tonight.
Nailed it.
And what did you say?
I said nailed it.
That's funny. Amy couldn't join us tonight. She's dealing with some personal things, and she will be back better and stronger than ever. So yeah, she will be missed on tonight's show because tonight's show we have something pretty wonderful on the show tonight, and it's going to be very intriguing for you guys. And before we get into that, Carolyn, is there any show info that we need to get into for tonight's show? Or just in general, what have you been up to? And, how's that studying going since you're always frantically studying?
Yeah, I know everyone's probably sick hearing this, but I'm exhausted. But other than that, everything's great. Really, really looking forward to tonight's interview. It's going to be amazing. And I would just like to reiterate what Bobby said. Amy's going to be missed tonight, and we hope that she and her family are doing well. And that's it.
Tonight, prepare yourselves for close encounters of the third kind. As we delve deep into the realm of UFO encounters, our guest this evening is truly extraordinary. She's going to bravely share her first-hand experiences with extraterrestrial contact. In a world where the mere mention of UFOs often invites scorn and ridicule, this guest's willingness to speak out is nothing short of heroic. From the pages of books to the screens of documentaries, we've heard tales of such encounters, but rarely do we encounter someone brave enough to confront the skepticism head on. These encounters range from the surreal to the downright chilling, from the gentle touches by otherworldly beings to the inexplicable electrical disturbances within her very home. As if the cosmos itself were trying to convey a message. Is it Morse code? Is it telepathy? The answers lie within the shadows, waiting to be unearthed. So let me introduce our spectral guide, Benson, to tell us about our extraordinary guest.
Meet Kristina Kohlhoff, a beacon amidst the shadows, whose journey into the realms of the unknown began long before she could comprehend its depths. From the tender age of 8, amidst the tumult of familial strife, Kristina felt the gaze of otherworldly entities upon her. A childhood marked by trauma and turmoil set the stage for encounters beyond the realm of ordinary perception. Through the mists of memory, Kristina recounts a night in her childhood home where she found herself lifted from her slumber onto a cold metal table, surrounded by small, grey beings. Though the word abduction lingers in the air, Kristina's experience defies such simple labels, blurring the boundaries between dream and reality. But it was in January 2020 that Kristina's world erupted in a symphony of synchronicity and contact. Since then, her days have been filled with daily encounters, from psychic awakenings to encounters with ethereal beings, a holographic visitor with over 200 tentacles, pulsating energies aligning her chakras, and daily touches from unseen hands. Kristina's reality transcends the mundane. And amidst the tapestry of her experiences, synchronicities dance like stars in the night sky. An owl's haunting call, a flickering lamp, each a signpost on her journey of discovery. Through visions of future beings and the crackling sensation in her left ear, Kristina seeks understanding in the embrace of the unknown. Join us as we peer into the depths of Kristina's encounters, where the mundane and the mystical converge, illuminating the hidden truths that lie beyond the veil. And remember, dear listeners, in the shadows of the strange, there lies a world waiting to be explored. Welcome, Kristina, to Strange Darkness Radio.
I love it.
Welcome to the show, Kristina.
Yes, definitely. Welcome to the show. Your story has been amazing. We've been corresponding from time to time just about your experiences. And if you can let the audience know a little bit about you and your background. It's very rare that you get someone or talk to someone who's having ongoing experiences as yourself.
Yes. So like I've had experiences for the last 3 years, like nonstop every single day. Whether it's small touches or synchronicities or numbers, seeing numbers all the time, to like major beings showing up and energy pulsating throughout my body the last 3 years. But I guess this has been happening since my childhood, but I never really knew or connected any of that as any spiritual or psychic or, part of the ET UFO community type events. I never connected those dots until 3 years ago. So this is something that's been happening for a while.
Can I just ask before you get into your story, because I would like to hear it from the beginning. I'm sure our audience would like to hear it from the beginning. But before you get into that, what do you think it is now? Now that you said since 3 years ago, you kind of started putting the pieces together. So what do you believe is happening to you?
I truly believe I have ET contact daily. This is what's happening. So I have psychic abilities, but the ET contact is more prevalent. And I feel like I have my future self, which sounds crazy, but my future self and future beings reaching out to me. And so that's why I feel like a lot of this ET contact is coming more and more.
Mm.
You know, as crazy as it sounds, I've heard similar stories from other people, including, I think her name is Barbara Lamb. She's a famous hypnotherapist who works with children and adult abductees. So to me, that's not so crazy of an idea, but
yeah.
Well, take us back when you first had these experiences. How old were you?
What I do remember when I was 8 years old. It was shortly after my parents divorced, and we were living with my mom, and I'll never forget this night because this dream has always, I thought it was a dream.
Yeah.
It has always stuck with me. So I remember going to bed and opening up my eyes, and then I see myself, my back levitating. Well, like not levitating, but going up. It's like I was on this metal table, and I also saw a big bright light above me. But then on the right of my shoulder, I saw a gray being. On the right of my leg, another gray being. And the left of my leg, gray being. And then the left of my shoulder, another gray being. So it was 4 gray beings that I saw. And I would say they were short. They weren't tall. They were short because I was a kid. And they were almost like even though I was on a metal table or whatever it was, they were close to my height. So I knew they were short. Well, I remember looking at them and I wanted the dream to end. So I immediately closed my eyes. And next thing I know, I was in bed again. So I've always thought that was a dream.
Yeah.
And that has stuck with me ever since. But now with everything happening the last few years, I now look back at that and I'm like, okay, I don't think that was a dream. I'm pretty sure I did get abducted and I don't know what happened. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember, like, from that point through 8 to, I don't know, 16, 17, nothing else occurred up until, was it 2020?
Yes, 2020. So, okay. I remember as a child, so I think I was 5th grade. I remember sitting on the asphalt in recess and I was cross-legged. And I remember I always looked up at the stars. I had this fascination with the clouds, the stars. And I remember looking up. And then I also looked at my leg and I saw movement inside my leg. Like something was inside and they moved. Yes. It freaked me out, but I thought I was seeing things. I looked down at my leg and I'm like, oh my God, did I just see that? Something moved inside my leg. I have no idea what it was, but I never said anything to anyone because how do you, as like a 10-year-old, yeah, something's in my leg. I don't know. It moved. I don't know. So that was the only time I remember having strange things. I had other strange things happen when I was 27. Like I don't remember anything in my teenage years because, teenage years, I probably shrugged it off as something like, oh, that's weird.
Exactly.
And went about my day and didn't really think about it. But I do remember when I was 27 and that was 2012. I remember getting out of the car and I had this like deja vu feeling. But it was like I got dizzy and I looked up in the sky and I literally saw the sky warp. Like it just warped.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I couldn't believe it. And I looked at my husband and I said, did you see that? And he goes, what? And I go, you didn't see the sky? It warped. It looked like it split apart and then went back in again. Mm-hmm. So.
Oh, that's so weird.
It really was. It was super bizarre. And like I said, that stuck with me and I was like, okay, whatever. That was weird. Moved on with my day. And so I didn't realize I've just been sensitive my whole life. And it wasn't till January of 2020 where it really intensified, where I had my spiritual awakening.
So
Oh,
no, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I was just going to ask to hear the rest.
I was going to ask what do you think triggered that in 2020, the awakening?
So I was going through a lot of family issues with my sister, my mom, my brother. I was the oldest. I'm the oldest of 4 siblings.
Okay.
And so I've always taken care of my family. Everyone has always looked at me to be, hey, older sister, you're the one who graduated, who went on to college, so you're supposed to take care of us. Well, my sister was going through some really, really heavy stuff that involved jail time. And so I was trying to navigate all of that with my mom, my family, and just trying to figure things out, even though she's the one who put herself in that situation, but they all relied on me on fixing it. So a lot of trauma from my childhood was like coming up. Like it was coming up. It was like boiling. I had to deal with it. And then it wasn't until January 11th, 2020 that, no, it was actually 2021, not 2020, where I was in our bedroom and I felt a huge energy burst that hit my chest and it just went dunk, 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 dunk. And like, I had to like touch my couch or my bed to keep myself from falling. Like, what was that? I was like, that was so bizarre. And I knew it wasn't like a heart attack. I knew it wasn't medical. It was definitely spiritual. And I kind of like, okay, that was odd. Okay, weird. And then it was 2 days later where I started to get energy coming through inside, in and out of my body. And it would hit like around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the day where I get this throbbing headache and I would have to lay down. I could not take ibuprofen. It would not deal with the throbbing headache. And then I would lay down and I would just feel energy going in and out of my body. And that first night, I will never forget this. On the right side of my brain here, I felt as if like two ETs put two magnets and they were just moving it. It was energy, just round energy, just being moved all around my brain here. And I would just sit there and I could just feel the energy pulsating, and it didn't hurt. And it actually felt amazing. It was like, what is happening to me? There's crazy, something's going on in my body.
This did not freak you out to like, I'm going to emergency right now. Like,
it sounds good to me.
It did not.
I would like a brain massage.
Right. It literally felt like that. It was just the energy was not, it didn't hurt. It wasn't painful. I just can feel everything just being flushed out of my body.
Can you do me a favor and try your best to describe, the energy feeling? Because I felt that before, and a lot of people don't understand what that is like or what it feels like.
Yep. Okay, so when your hand falls asleep, let's say you're like sleeping on your hand, you can feel the tingling all throughout your hand or your arm, whichever. Well, imagine that tingling sensation all throughout your body, just feeling those tingles, and you can feel it from your toes up to your head. I mean, you can feel the tingling moving all throughout your body. That's the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about when the energy, you said it hit you in the chest? What did that feel like?
So it felt like, it's someone like blew a huge air onto my chest, and it felt like steps. It was like energy here, energy there. I mean, it's odd to describe it, but I remember it being dunk, 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 dunk. Just like that. It's like lines of energy. It was just
from what she's describing for our listeners is at the center of her chest, and then probably about 2 inches high each time, somewhere around there, or inch high each time, which I believe those might be chakra points that go up. So yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So that went on for 3 months, and I dropped like 20 pounds. I did not want to eat. I could not eat meat because I felt the animal dying. I felt like I made pulled brisket, I can't remember what it was, but I took a bite and I saw the animal get butchered. I felt it, and I was just like, I couldn't eat meat, so I only ate fish and rice, and I maybe ate once a day. I fasted. I mean, I dropped so much weight because I wasn't even hungry. The energy was fueling me, fueling my body.
Did your health improve in other ways?
Oh, 1,000%. My hair grew like 4 inches.
Yeah, that's how you know.
Yes. And my face cleared up. I mean, I dropped so much weight. I mean, it was amazing. And that was my spiritual awakening. And that's when I did so much research on spiritual awakening. And then I had this strong, strong urge to meditate. And I could never meditate because, I would think of a gazillion things all the time when you're trying to meditate.
I do that. I can never meditate to this day.
Exactly. It's hard. Oh, I need to pay the light bill. I need to make sure I do laundry.
Stress.
Exactly. So then I meditated in March of 2023. February of 2020. No, I'm sorry. February of 2021, I started meditating, and it was in my office, and I will never forget this. It felt like something came through on top of my head, and then I started like shaking. I started shaking on meditation, and I felt what you call is the root chakra. I felt tingling sensation on the bottom of my butt, and then the chakras started tingling and going up. So that's when I found out that was a Kundalini awakening.
Mhm.
So my chakras were starting to open up.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, just fascinating.
And you still meditate regularly, or was it just like a?
Yes, I do meditate regularly. I mean, there's times where I'm so busy and I haven't had time, but now it's to the point where I'm going to bed and I can get in that meditative state quite easily now. So, and that's where I've had a lot of visions kind of come through.
Experiences.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So do you
Okay.
feel like they've come back or they're communicating with you? Like, do you feel like you've been abducted within the last couple of years?
Right. I've always wondered if I have. I haven't had any loss of time or had any experiences where I felt like I was in a ship. But no, I don't think.
Now, are you a hard sleeper?
No, it takes me a while to sleep. I'm not a hard sleeper at all. It takes me a while. Sometimes I will be up till 3 a.m. trying to fall asleep.
What about not physically though? What about like just consciously?
Yes.
You feel visited in that way?
I truly feel like my soul leaves my body at night, because there has been times where I don't know if I'm lucid dreaming or just dreaming, where I was in the cosmos and I don't know, I was having this battle. I was having battle up in the cosmos with I don't know, some beings. I have no idea. And I imagined my electricity coming out of my fingers during this dream or lucid dreaming. Well, I woke up, these 3 fingers, my index finger, my thumb, and middle finger were tingling. They were tingling. And I'm like, okay, so I was doing that. I feel like my soul was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know my soul does go off in adventures.
Places.
Yes.
What about beings visiting you though? Like, do they still come to you even in like a non-physical form?
Yes, they
Think
do.
so?
Oh, 100%. I mean, they send me visions. There was a vision that they sent me last year. This was in March of 2023, where so I started, in my mind's eye, I started seeing bright colors that looked like the aurora borealis, but it was colorful. I mean, it wasn't like green. It was just colors I've never seen before, and like smoke come into. And the next thing I know, I see an ET face come on my mind's eye, and then a human face. ET face and a human face. ET face, and then it was gone. So I feel like that was like, okay, we're going to connect with you. We're going to have beings connect with human races.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back just a little bit.
Okay.
So when you were 8 and you had this experience being on the table, did you see the beings? Could you describe what they look like?
Oh, yes. It's the typical gray beings that you would see with the big almond eyes, the small mouth, and the small nose. I don't know even if it had nose, nostrils, but just very typical of the 4-foot gray beings.
Okay.
Is what I felt. And I did not feel negative. Like it was more positive. Did not feel like I was, a lot of people describe, they were doing things to them and they didn't like it, whatever. I didn't feel negative at all.
You weren't scared?
No. Mm-mm.
So with that being said, the beings that you said you saw human face and then the alien face, was it the same face or was it different?
Yes, it was the same gray being face, but it wasn't gray. When they show me things in my mind's eye, it's usually the color violet and yellow. That's and sometimes I'll see different colors, but it's very rare.
Yeah. So since your awakening, do you feel that you've had more of psychic abilities in a sense?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I do have psychic abilities. So since the awakening, I've had spirits come through and send me visions. I've had where I had a friend of mine. I'll tell you a story of a friend of mine where his best friend committed suicide, and I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw my friend on Facebook, and next thing I know, I felt a touch on the top of my head. Usually when I know spirits from the other side want to contact me, they touch my crown, the top of my head. And I look and I realized, I was like, okay, this must be Anthony. Because I knew his friend that passed, because he's best friends, or he's good friends with my husband.
Yeah.
And then he started touching my nose. So I was like, okay, This is Anthony. And so next thing I know, he's like, I started to hear, hey man, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm doing great up here. And I don't say, hey man.
Yeah.
I knew this is coming from the spirit. So then he sent that to me, and I'm like, okay, I know he has a message for our friend, but I don't know if he's open to this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was on a Friday. I just shrugged it off. On a Monday, he sent again, he dropped my friend's name in my head, and I was like, I don't really feel like messaging him. I just don't know how he is. Well, then on Wednesday, I'm working at work and I'm doing an Excel spreadsheet. Well, next thing I know, he drops his name in my head again. I knew it was the spirit because I was working on an Excel spreadsheet. I was like, okay, I better talk to him. So I messaged my friend, and I was like, hey, are you open to hear messages from the other side? And he's like, yeah, I'm open. Okay, cool. So your friend Anthony came through.
Yeah.
And I was like, he wanted me to tell you, hey man, I'm doing great up here. Everything's fine. Hey, everything will be fine with me. I need you to just move on, like everything's great. Because he showed me a vision of his friend in his garage, and he was, in his feelings, and he was drinking. He was really upset losing his friend. And I said that to him. Well, then he didn't say a word to me, and I'm like, great, awesome. This is what happened.
Yeah.
Gone. Yeah.
That's why I don't want to tell people. Well, I come to find out he messaged my husband, and he asked if I was, a medium or a psychic medium. And my husband's like, yes, she gets spirits that contact her. And so he called me back. He's like, Kristina, that's what I was doing.
Wow.
I was in my garage that weekend, upset that I've lost my friend. And yes, I was in my feelings. And I was like, well, he showed me that vision. So, I get those too. And I've gotten a few other people, but I don't really tap into that because, it worries me sometimes how people, I've had, one person really like get turned off by it. And ever since then, I've just kind of, okay, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
That's understandable. A lot of people, it's hard for them to understand it, and they could be really staunched in the Bible, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. I think I think that's good. And but they say you're not supposed to play with certain things or allow those things to happen. But again, that's why we do the show, is to explore and find out, what's really going on, and these experiences that you're having, which are just fascinating. Let's go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, I want to, just go in more depth, because I just have so many questions about, are they contacting you? And if so, for what reason? Because again, you're seeing spirits and you're seeing these ET entities. So we'll be right back after this.
It's time for a commercial break. We'll be right back. Introducing Popcorn Remix, the ultimate snack for late-night cravings and podcast sessions with Bobby at Strange Darkness Radio. Escape the guilt of sinful snacks with this sweet or savory treat that transforms familiar flavors into popcorn delights. Indulge in the tempting variety, from Charlene's banana puddings to lemon cake, savory lemon and pepper, and incredible jambalaya, featuring over 50 flavors. Each bite is a mysterious encounter, captivating your taste buds like a shadowy figure in the night. Let the popcorn seduce you with its sinful allure, offering an irresistible guilty pleasure with a healthy twist. It's a burst of excitement reminiscent of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Popcorn Remix is the popcorn experience that keeps you craving more, as if you've danced with shadows in the moonlight. For this delicious adventure, contact them at info@popcornremix.com or call 678-806-5855. So go to www.popcornremix.com to have a remix in flavors. Now let's get back to Strange Darkness Radio.
Okay, the question I have for you, the whole thing about seeing spirits or communicating to a degree with them, how do you know it's not the ETs opposed to actual spirits? How can you tell the difference?
Well, that's the tough part. I don't know. Like when I know I've gotten to the point where I'm starting to understand when it's spirits from the other side, they touch me on my crown.
Okay.
As opposed, like the other touches, I don't know if it's invisible beings that are around me. Is it spirits or is it both? I don't know.
Okay.
But I mean, I do get those physical touch sensations of my body, even though no one can see them.
Yes. And people, let me tell you what she's talking about. So Kristina sends me video of these. I would normally say, if it was not you, because again, you send me so many different videos to where, I mean, this stuff that's happening in her house is just crazy real. I mean, it's so freaking phenomenal that it's amazing to have these things happen. It's what Carolyn, always talks about. She wants things to happen to her or to have different experiences, right? So Kristina sends me a video of, was it your like thigh area, and then it was like pulsating?
Right.
Yeah, like it was like she was being touched. So tell us about that.
Okay, so I was waiting for my daughter's game to start, her next softball game to start. So I was just sitting in the car reading or on my phone. And next thing I know, I started to feel my leg, like someone touching my right thigh right next to my knee and just touching it. And I was just like, someone's here and they're trying to get my attention. Because it happened so much that it just kind of like, and well, this one was very pronounced because it kept touching my leg and you could really see the movement of my leg. And I've had people, I've had a professor tell me that, are you sure that's not muscle spasms? Like, no, this isn't muscle spasm. I can't move that part of my leg if it was a muscle spasm.
Yeah.
So you can clearly see it, that it's moving. Like, so something, a being or whatever, a spirit was touching my leg.
Now, also, I just want to say, sorry, Carolyn.
No, go ahead.
Kristina is an amazing person. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's part of her, daughter's everything as far as when it comes to sports activity. She is the most sane person, period. I just want to say that to you guys. Because, people will say, well, obviously she needs to see a doctor and has all these things going on, with her. No, I've seen her actually watch and look at her lights, and it's like Morse code being sent to her via her light fixture. I'm not sure if at the time you were in your bathroom, your kid's bathroom, but
well, it starts in the bathroom.
Okay.
In my bathroom was the first time it happened, and this was January 26th of 2024 was the first time I had flickering lights in our bathroom, and I knew the light wasn't going out. The way it flickered was not it wasn't on, off. It was just this like subtle flickering on the light bulb. Yeah. And it happened in the bathroom. And I was just like, oh, wow, this is a first. I'm like, okay, they're contacting me. I'm like, I just sat there and watched. I'm like, okay, that's different. And then I go to the kitchen and I started to do dishes. Well, they moved from the bathroom to the kitchen and started flickering.
Yes, I saw that video also.
Lights in the kitchen.
Yes, but I want to describe the one in the bathroom only because it has an array of lights. It's like, I want to say 5 lights, a 5-light fixture, 6-light fixture.
So each mirror has one set of 3 and the other one has a set of 3.
Yes. So as she's talking and she's pointing, each light is like tapping like a Morse code. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. She described it perfectly, like it was sending Morse code, because you would just see it like do 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 do, and then it would jump from that fixture to another fixture, and it would do that same type of, code, and it would just keep jumping in between the lights. So it wasn't like the whole light system was failing or was flickering. It was each individual light moving from place to place. So,
correct.
So yeah. And then as that happens, she moves to the kitchen, and then it jumps into the kitchen.
And it follows her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It was so funny because I told my kids about it. I was like, okay. And we were all in the living room. I was like, you guys, flickering lights is happening in our bathroom and in the kitchen. And here's my oldest daughter. Oh, the flickering lights are happening to you too? And I'm like, what?
Oh, weird.
I know. I'm like, Mary, are you serious? She goes, yeah, Mom, it happened to me in the bathroom too. I thought the light bulb was going out. I was like, Mary, you have to tell me those things.
Yeah.
So it's not just me, it's my oldest daughter. It's happening too. And so and this was last week, she said they did it again when she went to take a shower. Mm-hmm. They were flickering the lights. And this time I've always thought it was just me in the house. Well, we were all in the house. So I think now they're getting to the point where they're reaching out to not just me, but other members of my family.
Yeah. Has your husband had any type of experience at all?
No, he hasn't. No.
So with you laying next to him sleeping, out of all the things that's occurred to you, he's never woken up. He's never seen anything. He's never...
Nope, not at all. It's always just been always when I'm either by myself or the visions come through, just, he's next to me, but it's just going to me.
You're the only one receiving it.
Right, exactly.
Now, again, people, she's having, she's being touched. She's having electronic disturbances. You're also hearing things, right? As far as like signals.
Yes. So on my left ear, it's almost like I get this Morse code type feeling. So what I would like to describe it. So when you're in the water and you get that first sensation of the water bubbling in your ear, that's the sensation I would feel. And it's constant. It's just like Morse code, but it's so fast. I can't be like, okay, ... That's this letter. It's so fast. And I've also had where my ear was crackling. And I don't know. I truly feel like my left ear is opening up so I can be able to hear them, but it's not happening yet.
Wow. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, keep us posted.
I will.
I wonder if there's a significance to the left, like if it's connected to a certain part of the brain that they're reaching out to, but can I just ask real quick, is where you live, is it in a city, or is it kind of more out in the hills, or like do you have neighbors right close to you on either side, or is it more spread out?
Nope, we have neighbors really close to us all the time. So it's not like we're far away. Nope. I'm in the city. Not right in the city, but more the outskirts of the city, but I have neighbors all around.
You're close to other people. And when was the last time you believe you've been like visited? Not for years, I take it.
Not for years. Are we talking about I've had a being
like
show
physically?
Up?
Yeah. Like a physical visitation, yeah. But
yes, I have. And so this happened last year, April of 2023, so here I am sleeping in my bed. My husband fell asleep in the living room, and I'm sleeping, and for some odd reason, I had this sensation to open my eyes. So I opened my eyes. Next thing I know, I see this I'd like to describe it as a not an octopus. What is a jellyfish?
Mhm.
So the center of this being was white, but it had tentacles, like over 200 tentacles, and it was floating with less than a foot away from my face, on the right side of my face. Now you can only imagine if you see something like that, how scared shitless
You're
you'll
gonna
be.
freak out. Yeah.
I totally did. So the first thing, I don't know why, the first thing I did was I took my hand and I swatted at it. Well, my hand went right through it, went right through the being. Yes. And I stood up and I was just like panicking. Like my chest was just throbbing. I'm like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Did I just make that up? Was that really real?
And you're not screaming, though. You're not screaming. You're not yelling.
No.
You're not calling.
No, I wasn't screaming for my husband. I just stood up. I was just like, I'm like, what had just happened? My chest just freaking out. But did I make that up?
You're brave.
Well, I realized I didn't make it up, and because I felt a touch on the top of my head.
Oh, so that was the signal for you to know.
Yes, that's when I knew there's a being here in my room. And then I started feeling energy pulsating all throughout my body. And it was pulsating, and I can feel the vortex on the top of my head, because I started shaking, and I started shaking the same way as the vortex on top of my head. And this it could have lasted 2 minutes, which felt like forever, but it was, I think it was only 30 seconds. And then I had the urge to lay down. So I laid back down, and next thing I know, I felt the touch again on top of my forehead, on top of my head, and then energy. And I felt my root chakra move from the left side center, felt my sacral chakra move from the right side center, and I felt all my chakras move to the center. And it was pulsating energy all throughout my chakras that time.
So I was going to ask you, what do you think their purpose for being there was? But it sounds like they were doing some sort of energy work on you. Yep. Right.
That's exactly. They were doing energy work. This is how I feel. I feel like with the energy work that they do to me, I'm going to have more and more contact. I think they need to align my chakras.
Yeah, like they're preparing you for something.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's exactly how I feel.
And you're okay with just disappearing and never being seen again? Like what's the end game? What are we doing here?
But I'm okay. Yeah, if you want to take me on a ship, let's
go. Your
Let's
kids,
go.
your husband, you're gonna just be like, no, because again, last numbers I checked, 400,000 people go missing a year, never to be seen again. And so yeah, that's really interesting. But none of this scares you. I mean, you know, if that's me, I'm trying to get to the ER. I'm thinking something is going on with me, and I need a brain scan or just, you know, whatever. I'm, you know, trying to, you know, figure out like what's happening.
Yeah, no, I get it. I've been to the doctor trying to figure it out, but I really know deep down in my soul, in my heart, that this is all spiritual.
Yeah. Because you're correlating what's happening with you physically to what you're seeing and what's happening, you know, with you around your home, which I totally, you know, I totally get that. And again, you know, she has a lot more information, but I just need to tell you, I need to say this. So we've been corresponding, I don't know, probably for the last, 3 weeks or so? I don't know the time frame. But every time I do the show and we have different people on, we have things that go on. And we actually, you know, get a lot of EVPs from Silver Rain, which, again, since you need to have her back on the show, but since she's last come on, I haven't had any of any EVPs happen, you know, on our airwaves. Because I edit the show and they're like these voices that are just as loud as I am that will come across with no actual waveform. And they're just like, you know, out of, you know, thin air. And it's really interesting. But with you, I've had 2 different type of experiences that I haven't had in my home at all, really. Okay, one is I have a Strange Darkness Radio sign. It's like a neon sign, right? And I've had it for 2 years, ever since I've been doing the show. and never had any issues with it. And the button, you actually have to press it. You have to click it to turn on. And for whatever reason, we talk, and we're talking about the light situation. I sent it to the ladies for them to check out. It was hard for Amy to make it out because I think it was kind of overexposed. So I brought down all the light just so she can see what was happening, and she was able to make it out. And this is like around 11 or something that night. And then I go to bed. I wake up the next day. I come into the area, my first studio, and the Strange Darkness radio light is on, right? It's like a neon sign. It's just blaring. It's extremely bright. And I'm like, okay, why is this light on? This is weird. Because I never had an issue in 2 years. It never came on by itself. Again, you got to press the button for it to come on. So I'm like, okay, let me just turn this off. So I click it and turn it off. And then for whatever reason, I was like, let me turn this back on. Just make sure there's nothing going on. I go ahead and click it. Nothing. It doesn't work. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right? Like, this is weird. And then so I unplug it, plug it back in, go to click the button. It goes to the lowest setting and just stays there. I'm like, okay, this is odd, right? I was like, okay, let me unplug it one more time, plug it back in again, doesn't work. I'm like, okay, now why am I having issues, with this sign, right? This is just crazy. And so I end up plugging it into another socket. I'm like, okay, maybe there's something wrong with this socket. And again, I have this area that I have like a power strip, and it feeds all my particular things, lights, and all kind of stuff that I have in this studio. And there was nothing wrong with it, but the sign for some reason has issues. So now what it does, and I contacted the people that made it. They're like, we don't know what's wrong with it. You can send it back to us. Obviously the warranty has expired, but if you want to pay, that's fine. If you want to get a new one, we'll give you like half the price or something. I'm like, okay, we'll see. So I leave it plugged in. I walk in here every other moment, and the light will just come on by itself. Now it's just periodically comes on.
It would come on.
Yeah, exactly. It won't even stay on. It'll just come on, shut off, go back on. And the power current is there. The power strip and everything says that it has power. It has a little power supply that has a little green light that's showing it's receiving power. Never had an issue with it. It was just unreal. So that is
Bobby
go ahead.
You're becoming like a magnet, because whenever we have not always, but sometimes when we have a guest who is experiencing strange things, it's like, and especially if he's been in contact. I mean, you've been in contact a lot the last 3 weeks, the two of you, and it seems like it somehow transfers over, and he's had a lot of strange experiences since doing this podcast.
Told her, I was telling her, I was like, okay, maybe your people are checking me out. The aliens are
seeing if he's okay.
Yeah, they're like, okay, she's going to be on this show. They're going to talk safe. About, and I've always heard that aliens do want their information out, and they're saying, don't be afraid. We're not here to harm people and everything else. I've heard, those stories.
I've had like urges to get my story out. Like I feel like that big urge, like I need to start talking about this. But then of course my fear kicks in. I'm like, oh no, where I live, a lot of people aren't really open, but more and more I do talk about it. I have a lot of people that approach me and like, Kristina, this has happened to me. I'm like, okay, I need to start talking about this, because they feel the same way too. They are scared to talk about it.
I do agree with what Bobby said. And I was even going to ask you this, and I think you probably feel this way, but like what their purpose is for doing these things to you and reaching out to you and sending you these messages. And I've heard from other sources that, it's part of the Great Awakening. It's like they're gently trying to start bringing the message to all of us that, yes, we're here. We've been here this whole time, but we're not, like Bobby said, we're not going to harm you. And it's, like, do you agree? Do you think that's why they?
Yep, 1000%. I agree with all of that, because ever since this has started happening to me, I do extensive research because I want to figure out, what does this mean?
What's going on?
What is this? Yes, and exactly what you said. There's this great awakening. They're waking people up. They're having more and more contact. People, they are literally living life based on fear. And we need to shut down those paradigms and wake up and realize we're more than just that. We're more than
just this 3D physical
Exactly.
reality, right? There's so much more out there that we don't
Yes.
experience, and so we don't realize it. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so okay, now it's time to get into, you saw what, how do I say this? Was it a hollow entity or a holographic creature?
Yes.
What was this?
Yes, this one was so bizarre because it was like the first being. It did not look like the first being, but I had another being show up. When was this? This was a green being, January 17th of 2024. So this was not too long ago, where so I got off work and I'm laying down trying to take a nap. Like I said, usually before I go to bed, I'll get in that meditative state. Once again, for some odd reason, I wanted to open my eyes. I opened my eyes, and sure enough, I see a green being hovering, I want to say 2 feet above me. And I opened my eyes, and the first thing I said was, "I know you." Why would I say that?
That's
That is
crazy.
the first
Weird.
thing I said.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. And I pointed at it, and then it moved back like an inch above, and it was oval. This being was oval, and it had holes in it. I guess that like the holes I can describe is like a tennis racket. So see not the handle, take the handle off, but you see the oval shape of the tennis racket, and it has holes. Well, the whole thing was green, and I was staring at it. And the holes were so symmetrical. It was amazing. It was like everything. But then I started to see its cloak. The cloak started to come around the being. So then it disappeared, but I can still see it. Even though it was clear, I see the cloak. I saw the cloak move around the being and completely disappear in front of me. Next thing I know, I started to see black bubbles in the middle of the being, and then I saw a vibration. So it's like it was going from one dimension to another.
Oh,
and I started vibrating. I could not believe it. My mouth dropped. I was like, "No, don't go away." And I'm like,
Wow.
staring intently.
Most people
like,
are running out the door. What is happening?
What's wrong with me?
These are some strong women that we have these days. I got to give it to you guys.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, so I couldn't believe that. That was that. And then a week after that was when I started to have the flickering lights. So I feel like, there's going to be more and more experiences that's going to happen to me. And I feel like I'm going to get to that point where they do show up, where ET beings do show up and start talking to me. So.
And you're ready for that.
Oh, yes, I do. I mean, I think that's why they've been doing the touches and all the energy work, all the all the visions. They've been doing it slowly.
Yeah.
And then they're getting to the point where now, okay, Kristina isn't scared. She's opening up to us. Now we're going to show up in the physical.
So, Kristina, let me ask you this question. Do you believe disclosure is going to happen with whether it's the government, whether they just fully present themselves and are getting people like yourselves ready to help, the regular person to, hey, they're okay. They're not, I can communicate with them like you're one of the members, like, whether we talked before about like a star child to where, you're able to develop and take on new abilities that, they've unlocked for you, and to help if disclosure were to happen to, smooth out the transition.
Yeah, I believe that 1000%. I feel like there's going to be major disclosure. And they sent me a vision where I saw a craft. Oh, Did you guys see me? I feel like we just froze.
Yeah, you're freezing.
You're frozen, but we can hear you.
But
See,
you can hear me. Okay.
They may not. There you go. You're coming back, but they
you're
may
catching
not
up.
like to
Okay.
disclose your talk because they're like, we're not ready yet.
Yeah, they're like, hey, watch it.
Maybe. I mean, it very well, you're freezing up for me too. So they're like, hold on.
That was
the
weird
vision-
timing.
Right. So the vision they sent me was the craft on top of a cliff. And it wasn't until recently where I realized that cliff it looked just like Devil's Tower.
So interesting.
And
Yes.
we will be showing these photos on our Instagram, and I'm pretty sure Kristina will be showing them also. I'm not sure if I can put them in our show description, but I will try. Just FYI.
Of Devil's Tower or her drawings?
Her drawings, yes.
Oh, okay.
So when they sent me that vision, that's when I feel like I'm connecting the dots. I feel like they're sending me like almost like premonitions, things that's going to happen in the future.
That's going to happen in the future. That is so interesting because that's like the local, folklore around here is that this weird shaped structure of the Devil's Tower is a landing strip for something, which is obviously it's just a made up story people tell for funsies. But what if that is what it's going to be used for? I mean, it would be a perfect place to do it.
Right. No, I agreed.
That's crazy.
And so after they sent me that vision, they showed me a being. And this being was all black and the head was bald. But I saw rectangular shaped glasses. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to symbolize that rectangular shaped glasses as a future being. So that's where I feel like future beings are contacting me. And
that could have been me. I just want to say for the record with my glasses and
your glasses.
I don't want to take my hat off right now, but I am bald. So therefore
It's not, it wasn't you, Bobby.
Bobby
right?
contact. But we have that picture also that you drew, and man, these images are freaking amazing, especially the holes. The one that basically looks like kind of like a grill, the green.
Like she
grill.
said, a tennis racket.
Yeah.
I thought that
Right.
one was super interesting too, and I actually had a question for you about that. So, Barbara Lamb, who I'm probably going to reference a lot, she has done so many, hundreds of maybe even thousands of hypnotherapy sessions with abductees. And over time, she's done a lot of studying and research and collecting data from these sessions. She believes that these aliens aren't, or these beings aren't always necessarily real beings. I don't know how to explain it because like their technology is on such another level that we can't even really comprehend it because it doesn't even exist in our reality, in our dimension. But basically, like the simplest example I can think of is that she said that like there are two kind of gray aliens. There's the tall ones and then there's the short ones. And from her research, she believes that the shorter gray aliens aren't real beings. They were actually created by the tall grays, and they send them to kind of do their bidding here on Earth. So, and it's like an interesting mix of spirituality and technology because obviously these beings are kind of alive. Like it's a kind of artificial intelligence that they're sending down. But I mean, like, so what do you believe? Do you believe that being specifically the tennis racket, grill being? What do you think that was? Do you think it was a hologram? Do you think it was some kind of technology they sent down to just check on you? Do you think it was a real spiritual being? What do you think it was?
What I feel it was that it was another being from a different dimension. So with my chakras being open and my crown chakra being wide open, I have heard from few psychics, they have told me that I'm a beacon, that my crown chakra is wide open. So I can attract many things. So that's what I'm wondering that. Yeah. And so that's why I feel
so you see things that come in and out of our dimension, or maybe you're seeing things that aren't even in our dimension.
Correct. That's why I feel that green being that showed up and I saw the black bubbles and it vibrating out. It was going from one dimension to another.
Right,
like it contacted, or like I said, when I was trying to go take a nap and I went in that meditative state, somehow I was open and they came through.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what to say because, again, my whole thing is it's incredible, what's happening, to you. And it's just that you're handling it so well. That's the big thing. But I guess, when it's like one of those things to where if whether or not you feel safe with something or you don't feel safe with something, you don't feel comfortable. And so I guess, you would know if you felt uncomfortable. And from what I'm hearing with all this has not, it's been weird, but it's not been totally uncomfortable
Right.
to where, there's something wrong. Somebody's doing something to me that I don't like, and so on and so forth. So.
Correct. I feel like I've read books about this. When people vibrate high, that they attract the higher, beings, high vibrational beings, whereas people who are vibrating low will attract the lower vibrational beings. And that happened at the beginning of my awakening, where I was in like shame and guilt and fear. So I was attracting all of the lower vibrational entities because I did see shadows on the corner of my eyes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We lost you for a second.
I was pausing because I was like, she's going to come back. She's going to come back. I was going to go ahead.
Okay. So like, I when I was in my awakening, where I did feel a lot of spirits that were stuck, that have not went, to heaven, have not moved on to the light. I felt all of that. I felt that in our bedroom. Like I felt so many spirits. And Bobby, I sent you a video of home where I had an indoor camera and you can just see orbs.
Yes.
All around the house.
A lot of and
it was like showers of
I just
orbs.
want people to know there are the dust orbs that when someone's dusting or, all that stuff. No, this was like a planet. This was like you were looking in a star system and you're seeing these small ships move in different directions. And, they had like a mind of their own. It was not just dust. It's odd. But
it moved. There was orbs that. Yeah, there were orbs that would just move around. They would just move to your right and then move up. And that's not a dust particle.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they were darting around and changing direction. I do remember that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Just a real quick question. I wanted to ask this for like the last 20 minutes. Have you ever seen like a UFO or a craft in the sky? I know you said you saw the sky kind of tear apart that one time, or you said it was shifting, but have you ever seen like an alien craft?
I have not. I have not seen any crafts. I know I've always thought, like, oh, I will see crafts now. And I'm like, well, I'm seeing way more than crafts.
Yeah. That is true. When you see one, you'll probably be on it. So
I bet you I would be. I wouldn't be surprised.
Because I've seen multiple crafts. So that
most people I talk to have seen something weird, and they don't always believe it's a UFO, but most people have a story of some kind. I've seen some weird stuff, so nothing like you. I've never had a visitation in my home.
Right.
But
I know it's so crazy to me that, I haven't seen crafts, but yet I have stuff that just happens to be at home. So it's just,
So how's your family taking all this?
Well, in the beginning of my awakening, my kids were scared. They were scared. They were like, Mom, there's ghosts in this house. What are you talking about? And like, I realized, oh crap, I'm scaring my children. I need to tone it down. And I've kept quiet, but I have gone really very, very spiritual. I was not into psychics before this, not into crystals or anything like that. None of that. And now I'm into crystals. I talk to psychics. I read spiritual books. And so my home has, singing bowls, a ton of crystals. And now my kids are very open. And now I talk to my children like, hey guys, this is happening to your mom. Please, this is out there. This is real. And now they enjoy it. And I actually thank TikTok on that, because they would tell me, oh yeah, mom, I heard that on TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh good, I'm glad.
And it just confirms what you're telling them.
Exactly, because there's a lot of people that are open to it, and they talk about it on TikTok. So then now my children are like, oh, my mom's not so weird then.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and take our last break. And I want to ask you when we come back, just about the whole owl situation, and so you can enlighten us on that.
Okay.
We'll be back.
To all our devoted listeners out there, we want to extend a heartfelt thank you for tuning in and joining us on our eerie adventures into the unknown. Your support makes each episode of Strange Darkness Radio even more thrilling. Do you have a spooky encounter or bone-chilling tale to share? Don't keep it to yourself. Call our Strange Darkness Radio hotline at 916-741-3032 or drop us an email at strangedarknessradio@gmail.com to be featured on the show. Your story could send shivers down our listeners' spines. Stay connected with us on social media for exclusive updates and behind-the-scenes content. Follow us on Instagram at Strange Darkness Radio, X at SD Radio. And remember, whether you're commuting, unwinding at home, or braving the darkness of the night, you can listen to Strange Darkness Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Let's journey into the unknown together, if you dare.
Okay, so real quick, I want to, before we get into the owl thing, so you've tried to contact MUFON and different organizations to ask questions. How did that go?
Well, MUFON, I did have someone contact me, and they were fabulous. They, you're not alone in this, and they just pretty much sent me to groups, Facebook groups that have had UFO contacts, things like that. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I have emailed a few contactees who've written books, and they've become, I feel like, so popular now that their emails are probably flooded.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard any response.
Okay, yeah, because your story, like I said, is just amazing. And this is things that are going on in your life as we speak. And, every day there seems to be something new. And so I just find it very intriguing. I don't know where you really want to go with it as far as I know you were saying that you're open to contact with them as far as actually speaking and all that, but I don't know where that goes, and I hope someone out there can help you with that. You ever thought about doing regression?
Yes, I have. I have been trying. I have a girlfriend who does regression, and we've been trying to link up, and I'm trying to get an appointment set up with her so I can really regress to that moment of being taken when I was 8. I've always been wanting to see that and see what happened there.
Yeah, because I think when you do, I think you're going to find that you've been taken a lot.
I was going to say, you don't remember what you don't remember. You could have been abducted multiple times since then, and you just don't even know.
Yeah, I bet I have.
That would be interesting.
I know.
Yeah.
So let us know what's going on with the owl situation, because a lot of people have weird, how do I say this, feelings about owls. They believe that they're high beings, and some believe they're evil. So like crows type deal. So it's all over the place with owls.
So this same thing where I was taking a nap after work, and while I was napping, I kept hearing noise. And I'm like, at first I thought it was in my dream.
Wait, repeat that one more time, only because you cut out right there.
nap, and
the
in the
owls
middle of
are
my
stopping
nap,
you now. Is what's happening because it's you're totally cutting out. That's probably got one like right outside listening to this whole conversation.
something's happening.
Yeah. So welcome to the world of ET intervention. This is what's going on right now.
I know the picture totally delayed, and now I feel like the voice. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You're catching up now, yeah.
Okay, good. So I was trying to taking a nap, and I kept hearing this hooing noise, and I thought there was kids outside, but no, it kept hooing out. And then I heard it again, and I'm like, that's an owl. And I wish I stood up and actually look outside the window, but I didn't because I was expecting to hear it again.
Yeah.
Gone. So I truly feel I had an owl outside in the backyard hooing at me. And you're right. I've heard ET connection with owls.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are, connected to owls. So I feel like that's what happened. But I wish I got up and checked, and I didn't.
Now, do you normally have owls in your area, or you don't normally have them?
No,
Is that
we
what
don't.
freaked you out? Okay.
But I will say I've had connections with birds. I've had birds. I had one particular bird that would come up to our window, and you know when you have birds just fly into the window and they just hit the window? No.
Yeah.
This bird actually jumps up and hits the window like it was knocking on the window.
Oh, wow.
And
to get your attention.
Yes, I even have another video of it and then it would always come back, and this was during the summer, and the bird would jump up, hit the window, and I would look out, and the bird would just stare at me. I would stare at the bird, and I'm like, okay, what's up?
Yeah.
What do you want? And then it wouldn't do anything, and it would fly away, but the bird would still stare at me. And then the bird would constantly come, and it would do it with my daughter, it would do it with my husband. And then here I am, a couple months later, I'm just watching TV, and the bird came back again, and it propped up right next to our grill, which is right next to our window. And it would take its wing and flap it against the window. And I would hear the brushing of the bird's wing, the window. And I'm like looking at it, and it would come back and look right at me in the eye. And then I'm like, okay.
Oh, weird.
And I would look, and then I would watch TV again. Here's the bird again, flying up to the window and brush its wing, perch right back down on the grill and look right at me. It was trying to get my attention. And so then I would stop and I would look at it, but nothing would happen. I think it was just kind of just telling me, hey, I'm here.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting because you're having all these interactions with just pretty much everything. But I'm just, like I said, I'm just surprised you're dealing with it so well. So throughout all of this, how have you dealt with the skepticism from whether it's family or friends or, people that you tell like you did the one time when you saw something for the person and they didn't take it too well? But how do you deal with that now? Do you let it roll off your back, or do you
Now I've been letting it roll off my back because yes, I mean, there's going to be people who are completely closed off and not open at anything at all. And, they're on their, I like to think of it, they're on their own path in life. They will eventually, get there. But right now that's not where they're at. And I will move on. I can't dwell on that one person not believing me or thinking I'm crazy. I'm like, okay, you know what, whatever. I'm going to find the right people. And that's what's been happening. Like you guys, I mean, finding the right people who, are I can attract. So, and it's actually been really amazing because once I talk about my story, a lot of people are so interested and they love it.
Oh yeah. And I wish you would have sent it to us a long time ago when you initially.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Right?
We were so flipping excited to do this interview. This is big for us.
Yeah. So tell people about, when you initially were going to send me a message and then you decided not to. I guess when you weren't out of your shell.
Yes. First, I don't know how I found you. It was on Instagram. I know that. And I think someone I followed shared your page. And so I clicked on it. And then I remember I think one of your posts said, if you have any paranormal experiences, please reach out to us. We'd like to hear. Well, and I DM'd you and I had this huge paragraph written out. I'm like, oh yeah, I have experiences all the time. This is what's happening to me. But at the time I was so fearful. I'm like, okay, am I ready to talk about this? Am I ready to put this out there? And I just deleted it. And so I've just kind of left it out there since then until you had your stories on Hotel Alex Johnson. Then I was just like, wait a minute, I got a message in now.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, out of this whole thing, what do you want to achieve, specifically when it comes to, is it okay for people to contact you and say, hey, I've had the same experience and this is what this is leading up to? And, would you be okay with that type of information coming across from someone else?
Oh, yes, that is totally fine. I actually created a Instagram and I will start talking about and start posting of my experiences. It's
you should.
Yes, Cosmic Connection 27.
Oh, nice.
Cosmic with a K.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Send it to me so I can share it and all that good stuff, especially when we do your story and air it and everything. Just so
for sure.
can,
I'll do that.
Yeah, because again, I know people are having these experiences and, they're just not wanting to say and they don't know, how to really deal with it or internalize it. And some people like me would just run from it or think they're going crazy because I would just straight up say my house is haunted and it's nothing to do with ETs. It's pretty much just, there's some entity or spirit living in my home. But you've dealt with it amazingly. And, just going forward, I hope you come back on, tell your story. And I just think, people will love to hear your voice and what's happening to you and that you're willing to, face it head on and you're not really running from it. I mean, that's, to me, that is huge.
Yes, I would love to come back on again and share more experiences. Like I said, I have so much more that I can talk about. I've journaled a lot of my experiences. Thank goodness, because I would have forgotten a lot of them, but they happen daily. So now this has become my norm. It really is. And it just kind of rolls off my tongue. And sometimes I have to realize, oh crap, I'm at work. I'm in a corporate setting. I can't just talk about this.
Yeah.
Man, that is so awesome though. But again, you were picked, so it's not like you went out and picked the situation. And I do love how that you weren't into crystals and you weren't into a lot of this. And now you're diving into it. Because I know a lot of people who've been into this forever and the crystals and everything, and they don't have any experiences and they're, wishing that they do. And they're hoping that the, particular crystals that they have are actually working for them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, I did not believe any of this stuff, even though I've had weird things happen to me. I'm just like, I've always shrugged it off. That was weird. Okay, whatever. I was not thinking any of that was spiritual. Can I bring up a story where I realized something that I've had since I was a child?
Oh, for sure.
That I realized. Okay, so I work in a corporate setting. I was in a meeting. There was like probably 15 of us in there, and the vice president was speaking. Well, I'm listening intently to what he's saying. Next thing I know, it's like I went in this weird haze. I started to see his aura. Ooh. And his aura was bright green, and I saw it spreading around his head, around his body. And then I would look at the person next to him. His aura was yellow above his, all around his body. And then I'm like, wait a minute, what is happening? I am seeing people's auras. So I'm seeing everyone's auras in this meeting. I'm looking at the monitor, the TV on the board, and I see the energy coming out of the TV. And I'm like, holy cow, I saw this when I was a child. I saw people's auras when I was a kid, and now here it's happening again as an adult.
Wow.
So it's just crazy to me that like I really struggled a lot of that growing up and in my teenage years, in my 20s, like, oh, that's all fake, that's not real. And then now it's happening to me, and I'm like, oh, it's real. It's really, really, really
That
real.
is interesting. But see, that goes into the whole thing that we were saying, that a lot of other things may have happened to you and you just don't recall it. And as things, you move forward and things start to happen, it's gonna, start coming back to you. And that is interesting. So do you know what the different colors mean? Have you looked or researched that by any chance?
You know what's funny is that I did. So I looked up bright green, and bright green meant someone who has new ideas and an excitement. And that's what the vice president was talking about.
Interesting.
He was talking about new ideas, what's going to happen for this year. This is what we're going to do. And I'm like, wow, he was emanating that. And I can see his aura spreading. It was huge. It was beautiful. Like, I wish I could go up to him and be like, hey, I saw your aura. You're excited. But I didn't.
Right.
Wow. And that was the first time. Has it happened since?
Yes. So now it's almost like I get into this daydreaming state. And like people would ask me, oh, can you see my aura? And well, I can't do it right then and there. I have to like sit back, be like 8 feet away from you, and then like in this daydream, and then it would just happen. It's like it's like it clicks, and then I will see the energy from a TV, the energy from the couch. It's so bizarre, and it's amazing at the same time.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You're lucky you're not in my city, because I would do a sit down interview with you and just to, discuss. But I don't know though, because I don't know. I don't want too many crazy things happening around me. Only because
you'll have to do some sage afterwards to.
I have too many
make sure nothing follows
devices.
you home.
Exact, or I don't know if that would work though for the little
for aliens. No,
little ETs out there. Yeah, they pretty much bypass all that stuff.
They would too.
That's incredible. So, any further words, Carolyn?
I'm out of questions. Bobby pretty much asked everything that I didn't get a chance to ask, but I just wanted to say that I know how incredibly nerve-wracking it is, and I think you're very brave for telling your story and sharing your story. And it's kind of like what you were saying earlier, for all the naysayers and people who don't buy it, that's fine. We're not trying to convince anybody of anything, but it's kind of like it's a weird feeling just knowing when you know something. It's like, 2 + 2 is 4. Other people can argue with you all day about it, but 2 + 2 is 4. And once you know that, you're never going to unknow it. So it's kind of like what you said. You just have to be patient and know that not everyone's on the same page with you, but they're getting there and they're in their own journey. But you know what you know, and you've experienced what you've experienced. And I don't think there's ever anything wrong with being open and honest about your experiences. So I just want to thank you so much for coming, for trusting us to be the first platform that you go to share your story. You have an incredible story, and I would love to follow up with you more. And either, a one-on-one, or you could even come back on the show. That would be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Keep us updated about. Yeah, please stay in touch with us. Like, we would love to have you back.
Exactly. Kristina, it's been amazing. Is there anything left that you want to get out there and let people know about your situation, or just, in general?
Well, I wanted to let people know, if this is happening to you, be open with it, because I have not had any negative issues with it or negative experiences with all of this. It's all been positive, and I feel like they are taking me to the right direction. Major things have happened, but it was for a reason, and something positive has happened. The outcome positive is happening next. So to be open with it, and I'm hoping with sharing my stories that more and more people will start to come out.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say, because yes, it's positive, but if I woke up with anything above my face, I'm going to run out of the room. I mean, again, it's just me. I don't know. People are like, Bobby, you always talk about, you're so scared to have these particular interactions with certain things, but yet you do the show. Well, I'm just telling you how my normal reaction would be, I guess. That's, I don't know if it's a man thing or what, but I know I would freaking hightail it out of there. But then, once I figured it was, I don't know how it would, again, it has to be something that you feel and is not going to harm you. So therefore, you're in a different state of mind. But when you're hearing it and you hear about 200 tentacles or anything like that, you're like, wow, what were you thinking? And but again, I guess it goes in with your fight or flight mode and all that good stuff. So yeah, I find it very interesting. And again, Kristina, thank you for coming on the show. And I hope, we end up hearing a lot more from you as we move forward, because I think your voice adding to the echoes in the ether of what's happening out there, I think would be an amazing thing for you. And I know you were telling me before that you lately have been seeing the 999 comes to me talking to you, and you've been seeing that more. I don't know if it's for me or for you, but it's still an experience that I think opens up a lot of potential for, new horizons and, for your voice to be heard, by a lot of people.
Right. Shortly after I started sending you my videos and started just talking about this with me, I see numbers all the time. And 999, I saw it 3 times on a license plate, on a post, on a billboard, 999. I never used to see 999, and it means closing of something and starting something new. Perfect.
Good way to end it. All right. Well, thank you again for coming on Strange Darkness Radio. We're out.
Thank you.
As your journey through the shadow realms of Strange Darkness Radio concludes, remember that you unlock the door to the paranormal with the key of imagination. Beyond it lies another dimension, a dimension of eerie soundscapes, chilling sights, and the profound depths of the mind. You're venturing into a land of both haunting shadows and tangible substance, where the ethereal meets the corporeal, and ideas take on a spectral form. You've just crossed over into the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. In the vast expanse of the paranormal, there exists a 5th dimension, extending beyond the known realms of our understanding. It is a dimension vast as the cosmos and eternal as infinity, a mysterious terrain between the illumination of light and the depths of shadow. This is the middle ground between the empirical and the supernatural, where fears fester in the pit of humanity's soul and knowledge ascends to its zenith. Welcome to the dimension of imagination, an area we dub the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. As you conclude your journey with us, remember that you're departing this peculiar zone, a place where reality intertwines with the surreal. Be cautious as you step out, for you may find that the boundaries between the normal and the paranormal blur, leaving you forever in the lingering embrace of the unknown. Until next time, farewell from the depths of the Strange Darkness Radio Zone.